In Europe, the 1600s had seen the fruition of early explorers like Columbus, taken with even more endeavour into the 1700s, which saw a strengthening of shipbuilding and seafaring as the method of choice for foraging new lands. Colonising land was nothing new and had existed globally from as early as the Phoenicians in the eastern Mediterranean circa 1500 BCE. With the Austronesians exploring the islands off the coast of China also down into Australasia and out into the Pacific, and of course later the Greeks and the Romans' solid march across continents. The Chinese specifically had been at it for eons, traversing the Indian Ocean during the Han Dynasty from 206 BCE to 200, and way before that there are even some prehistoric signs of settling on Taiwan. And it was later, with the Chinese invention of the maritime compass in the 1100s, that enabled them to enter into the now global show that was beginning to unfold during the early European Renaissance. The Silk Route, already a dusty and well-beaten track, which was laid down during the Han Dynasty, with the Great Wall of China evolving to protect it from the northern nomads. Now, though, it was these sea-conquering ships that were truly opening up east and west, cutting out the middlemen along that time-worn route. The Spanish and Portuguese, too, had been no shy adopters of this type of seafaring discovery by crossing the Atlantic in the 1400s. What was different now was this particular brand of colonisation was fuelled in its speed and far-reaching effects by the galley ship. Everyone who was anyone in Europe was at it from the 1500s right through to the 1800s, notably dubbed the Age of Discovery, a European term. This mindset of colonising land shaped borders, and later, relinquishing, intensively carved up the world as we see it today, with huge consequences. The powers connected with this new phenomenon in Europe, the Dutch, British, Portuguese, Spanish and the French, I suspect were as keen to outdo each other as the US and the USSR were in the race for outer space, post-World War II. And no doubt with equal intrigue, mistrust and deception along the way. This enthusiasm came with such evangelical fervour that to hold on to any new land, the resources and commodities it held, along with the classical idiom of useful labour, in that of slaves, was the driving force. So, these new territories were not just fountains from which new wealth sprang, they were also bones of contention between these new seafaring nations, as would be those caught up in their path. Up until now, Europe had been embroiled in a journey of self-discovery, based on the classicism of antiquated empires, played out during the previous 500 years during the Renaissance and the beginning of Enlightenment. But now the stage was becoming larger, and with ever-increasing discoveries of new land, cultures and produce especially, this had sparked an appetite for change, but also in how the world was to be seen through the eyes of this now confident part of the Western European continent.